Hi, my name is Karen Gaines, your nonprofit finance guide, and today I am going to talk about how nonprofits should use classes in QuickBooks. So let's get started. So I have a fictitious QuickBooks account on the screen right now. And what I'm going to do today is just show you how to use classes, how they should be used from beginning to end. Okay, so classes should be used to track transaction types. It should be used to track your programs. So with each transaction, you want to class them as either an administrative type of transaction, fundraising, or programs. Okay? I have seen some nonprofits use classes to track grants, and in my opinion, that is not the best way to use classes. Because if you get too many grants, that can become very confusing. And last week, I did do a video on how to track grants in QuickBooks so that it doesn't become confusing and it doesn't become a complete mess. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is make sure the classes feature is turned on. Now classes is not available for QuickBooks Simple Start. You have to go to QuickBooks Plus or Advanced to use the classes feature. So the first thing you do is go to the gear icon, then go to your account and settings. And once that opens up, you want to go to Advanced. Yes. Okay, so we have track classes is turned off. So we want to turn that on. So we're going to click the little pencil button. We're going to turn that on. And there's also an option where you can be warned when a transaction isn't assigned a class. And it's optional. You can turn it on. It'll always remind you to class a transaction if you have not. And it also gives you the option, one to entire transaction or one to each row in transaction. I'm going to leave this as one to each row. And just for demonstration purposes, I'm not going to, well, I guess I will, so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to click Save. Okay, and I'm going to click Done. Okay, so now I'm just going to create a class. You'll need to create classes first. Okay, so go to your gear icon, and there should be an option for classes. Let's see. Let's go to All List, and there it is, classes. So you want to click Classes, and you want to create a class. Okay, so first class we want to create is administrative. So click New, Administration, click Save. So you have your administration class. Click New again, and we're going to do Fundraising. Click Save. And now we're going to put your programs in. And I'm just going to create 2 programs. And we'll call the first program, and programs represent your service line, okay? And we'll call it shelters. We'll call it Women Shelter as a service line, and then we'll create another service line and we'll call this mental health services, or mental health is fine. and click Save. So now you have your administration and your fundraising. So now you have your administration and your fundraising, which all nonprofits should have. And now you have your program, your services as well. And in this case, I just used mental health and women's shelters. Okay. So now that we have our classes set up, I'm going to show you how to use them. So let's go to the bank feed. Let's go to bank transactions. So when you are using your classes and you click on a transaction, the class option is going to come up. So we have our vendor. Let's go ahead and place this in an account. Let's see. I'm just gonna randomly put this in advertising, although that's not what it is. But I'm going to select the class as well. And let's put this in administration and click add. And we're going to do the same here. Now this is an amount that's been received. And we'll put this in a random account. Let's see, we'll put this in other income, and we're going to also, we're going to put this in fund, let's put it in administration, click add. And let's do one more. It looks like this is A1 rental. Okay, so that vendor needs set up. We'll just do that real quick. And we're going to book this to an account, and we'll put this in administration as well. No, let's put this in women's shelter. Okay, let's do the same here. Now this time we're not going to put a class. We're going to leave the class blank. And I'm going to add it, and this is the error or the warning that it's going to give you. It says, please click on the rows below to see transaction specific errors. And so it's wanting you to put a class for this transaction. And I do, like if you're working with a larger team, I would turn this warning on just so that nothing gets missed, so that every transaction can have a class associated with it. Now you can bypass this by just clicking add again, and it'll go through. Okay, and let's just do one more. We'll do one more, and we'll put this in other income, and we'll put this in mental health. Add. Okay, so we've categorized some of the transactions. Now, when you go, you can see these transactions in the reports. So when you go to your reports, you're going to want to run your statement of activity. And you want to put in your date range. And for this example, I'm just going to click all dates and click run report. And I'm going to go to display columns by. We're going to put classes. And we're going to click run report. And you'll be able to see the transactions that we just categorized by class. And it looks like I did this one wrong. It probably was income. But we're going to, but you can see, the transactions we categorized by classes. And in this fourth column, you'll see not specified. So all of these transactions need classed. Okay, and to do this, you can just click on the amount and click on each transaction and then class it from there. So you can class right there and click save and close. We're gonna go back to our report, and you can see it moved it over. Okay, now I do like this. I like using the classes for service lines because you can see exactly where your income and your expenses are going. You can see if a program line or service line is making money or losing money. You can see, how much money you're spending on admin or administrative expenses. Also, when you're filling out a grant application, sometimes they want to know how much money you're spending on your admin cost, or what percentage of your expenses are going to admin versus all of your other transaction types or service lines, excuse me. So I really like this feature. You can also show this to your donors, especially your donors that contribute large amounts of money. You can show them so that they can see how much money is going to admin, how funding is being used for one service line, i.e. mental health or women's shelter, how much funding is being received and spent on that. So it's a really cool feature. In my opinion, you should use classes for your service line. I do not believe you should be using your classes feature to track grants, because if you have multiple grants and your grant count keeps growing, this statement of activities will be a mile long. It'll be long and it'll be hard to read, versus if you use your classes for service line for each of your service lines, it's not going to be so long. Most nonprofits don't have 50 different service lines. Okay, and if you do, you probably shouldn't be using QuickBooks. All right. That's all for today. And I do want to point out one more thing. If you're in a situation where you have tons of transactions in this non-specified category, you can use the mass reclass feature. And let's see, I think here it is. You go to reclassify transactions. You can do a bulk reclass where you're selecting multiple transactions at one time and adding a class. So you can, let's say, select, you go by type, find transactions, and you can categorize this by customer or vendor and select all of the vendors who belong in a certain class. Or you can go to expenses, and all certain type of expenses may belong to a certain service line. Like all of your advertising goes to admin, or all your legal goes to admin, or your fuel might go to women's shelter. It's just a quicker way to go through and class all of your transactions instead of doing it one at a time. Now, sometimes, depending on your organization, you might have to go one by one. You might have to do that. And I've had to do that before. A client wanted, transactions by class, and we had to go through one by one and identify, what these transactions were for, and then class them properly. Okay, so I hope this video has helped you. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you the next time.